Ethan, happy birthday, Ethan. Love your dad, Jim, and best friends Josh, Flam, and Gator. Good luck on the upcoming corn harvest and enjoy.
Okay, I don't dislike Ralph, but I'm at a place, and I'm not being ironic, where I think it may be time to sacrifice Ralph to the corn. We have to sacrifice Ethan Ralph, to the gods, so that the corn will be a bountiful harvest this year.
Josh, he's the owner of Kiwi Farms. He said, I need to be sacrificed so that we may have a good harvest. You will be harvested long before me, sir.
Someone even made fun of me for pointing this out, but on the same thread as the Gila stuff, let me find this post real quick. Someone pointed out that for whatever reason, Ralph on his recent stream has fixed a picture of Jess Southern, and Jess Southern is Laura Southern's younger sister, and she is like a model, and Ethan Ralph has been obsessed with this woman for literally years. So here's the post. I'll pull it up on the big screen for everybody. Since she was 17, actually. It's so long ago that when he started posting pictures of her on his stream, she was still a teenager. So this is the stream, and he just has this random picture of her on the bottom left. No reason for it, no rhyme or reason. It could be anything there. He chooses a picture of a woman, I guess because booba, right? But then I realized that looks a lot like this picture of May that she posted some time ago, where she's doing the exact same thing, the exact same pose as Jess Southern in this picture that he is promoting. And he's used this picture before, this exact one. So I think he has a poster of it on his wall somewhere, or has it as his desktop background. And Pantsu has seen this and has that Gila Klein battered wife syndrome, where she's like, oh, my husband doesn't find me attractive. I need to try and be more like the stars and models that he finds attractive. So she tries to replicate things that she sees. Gila sees Bella Delphine with bubblegum pink hair and shit, and is like, oh, okay, I'll dress like that. And then Pantsu sees this Jess Southern picture of her doing this pose with the lollipop, and will be like, oh, I'll do the lollipop thing too. I really believe that's happening, because it's very obvious that Ralph does not give a fuck about her and is around behind her back. The real Ralph stuff that I want to talk about was this filing. Basically, Matthew Vickers has an emergency restraining order against Ralph, and Faith Vickers recently attained one as well. And I think that has some implication. He's already a felon. He can't have weapons. But you lose certain freedoms when you have a restraining order against you. Or once a restraining order is temporary. Sorry, a restraining order is they come to the court and say, I believe that person A is a threat to person B. And then before being found guilty of anything, the court says, okay, well, we're going to put a restraining order. Don't f around with this person. And I think if you have weapons, you have to relinquish them as well, because you're deemed a threat to this other person. And then after it goes to court and both sides are heard, then they decide that they're going to lay an injunction, which lasts quite a while. I think 2 years for a full injunction. So if this goes through, we've been teasing him by making it, he lost his court case with Adrian Blair, so he can't say Adrian Blair and avoids the topic at all costs. This might be the case with Vickers as well, Matthew and Faith, and that would be a huge blow to his ego if there were 3 separate people that people could talk about that he can't comment on at all, because he has the biggest, fattest mouth in the world, and he has to chime in constantly. So he's fighting this, and I'm pretty sure he's running out of money, because he decided to file his appeal to this restraining order himself. So this literally reads like a blog post, even though it's a court filing. there is one good part. I'll read through it, and then if I get bored, I'll skim it a bit. But he says, attachment 11, reasons I disagree. Matthew Vickers has made a number of claims in his complaint. I will give my response to that, but before I do, I think it's important to give some background to the case. Right away, number one, not only does that read like a blog post, that reads like a shitty blog post. Like, you don't need to say that. That entire sentence is superfluous to the point of what you're saying. If you're going to give a claim, a response, just lay out your response. Obviously, you're responding in your response to the motion. You don't have to say, this is a response. I'm going to give my reply now. Mr. Vickers has left out several important pieces of information. Without them, you cannot understand this complicated situation. Also superfluous. It is my belief that he left out this pertinent information on purpose, but of course that determination will be ultimately left up to the court. If obviously, then you don't need this is one sentence. Vickers has left out several pieces of important information. Number one. Number two, Vickers has deleted a large portion of his internet footprint, lowercase I internet. Come the on, Ralph. I know you listen to this podcast. That, I bet you money. That's just to spite me. That's my schizo talking, but that wrote this, and he wrote out internet, and then he did it right. He pressed the shift key. He extended his pinky out to the shift key, and then thought that Josh Moon that, and then he backspaced it and wrote it lowercase I internet just to shit on me. Including Twitter accounts and a website he has set up specifically for the stated purpose of harassing me. Thankfully, many of his exploits and statements have been archived in quotes and are thus available for you to view. He wrote archived in quotes as if archive is not a word that a legal professional would understand. Your Honor, this is a so-called tweet. It is a short form blogging message on the internet. Archives exist before the internet. Come on. He mentions his daughter Faith vanishing, as if vanishing is not a word either, from his home at the outset of his allegations. He implies that there was something nefarious about our relationship, or that I somehow acted outside the scope of the law. The fact is, Faith was 18 when we started talking. That's legal in every state in the union. For her to have left and moved in with me, which is what she did. The idea that I groomed her is ridiculous. In fact, she sought me out at every turn. You can argue it wasn't wise to get involved, but that's not relevant. Then don't include it in your filing. Mr. Vickers, brevity is the soul of wit, Ralph. The less you say, the better things are. Vickers goes on to show an email that I did send to him from my Rad Roberts account. That is a fun admission to make in court. Yes, Your Honor, I have many sock accounts under many names, and that Rad Roberts Gmail is in fact myself. What he neglected to mention is that his own daughter had credibly accused him of domestic violence against her right before she left to come to my house that same night, in fact. That's relevant. You want to say that. You want to say that she left out of fear of him to begin with. The reason I was so eager to get her to leave is because of the allegations of physical abuse that she made against Matthew Vickers, also relevant. I have screenshots of messages, then just show them. The reason I sent that email, because he threatened to press felony charges against his own daughter for taking her cell phone and I believe her computer. She was distraught and crying, so I sent him that. Here's what she sent me right before that very night. And I think this is actually... Okay, this is her talking to him. I'm having bad thoughts. I'm having really bad thoughts, actually. I just need to stop. My dad hit me, so now I'm curled up crying, and honestly trying not to think of bad things, but I don't want to stay here. I don't have anything ready and didn't think Uber gets into my area since it's a gated community. I'm planning on asking my friend to drive me out, at least to the gate when I do leave. Okay, this shows how he's treating his the judge of this case like it's Gator, like it's just his friend. I was also sent this message by Faith, which shows how Vickers speaks to his children in a private group chat. Is it really so hard to believe that I might have credibly believed that she was being abused, whether or not that was actually the case? That's what she was telling me. Why does he feel the need to write it this way? Just say, I was sent this message by Faith, which shows how Vickers speaks to his children in a private group chat. It was credible to me that she was being abused. Just so we're all straight up, this is from Papa Bunny, which is kind of cringe. Just so we're all straight up aware, when I mouse over any message on my Mac in iMessage, it shows me the time that the text was sent. The latest text from that night was at midnight, 5 past midnight, by William responding to Faith. There are no texts after that saying open up. There are no tends to ping our phone. So if you were after that, it's your fault. I mean, that doesn't show that he's like physically abusive. That's just showing that he gets angry and drops the F-bomb. Like, what an asshole. Vickers himself went on a show. I'll mention the show again, and discussed Faith's allegation of abuse directed towards him. He claimed to me that did not happen at one point, and I believed him given his actions towards me and his determination to keep me from my son, which he is not actually considered his son. I'm no longer sure of anything regarding him. I like to think these allegations are not true. I believe him less than I do now. I would think the court might see why Faith thought I was in danger. And then he has a Vakaru link. Very professional. You know, Ralph, you have like 8 different websites. Just put the file on your website. He mentions my case in Loudoun County where I was jailed for assaulting a police officer. That did happen, although I didn't actually hit the officer. And then he explains that he is actually a convicted felon. in his appeal, he explains that he drinks too much and fell asleep on a couch. He says, I had too much to drink and fell asleep on a hotel couch. It's not optimal, but it's also not the violence act of maniac like how some portray it. Regardless, I served my time on that matter and completed my probation. He alludes to another criminal complaint that was dropped earlier this year. I have nothing to add other than it was dropped, and I deny what has been alleged. That is probably the best sentence in his entire filing. He alludes to another criminal complaint that was dropped earlier this year. I have nothing to add there other than it was dropped, and I deny what has been alleged. That's perfect. That's all you need to say. You don't need to say, yeah, I thumbed her anus, but she consented to it from the insane asylum when I called her. Like that's something I would actually expect him to say in regards to that. It's true. Oh, never mind. He goes on to say that. It's true I checked Faith out of the hospital and brought her back to live with me. But again, she was begging me daily on the phone not to send her back to live with Matthew Vickers and his family. Indeed, over the last 10 months, even while back in California, she has continued to beg me to come back here. It's not necessarily material to this case, but it happened and I have proof. Indeed, we talked almost every single day during her pregnancy, and that was brought to an end by her controlling father. He has publicly stated his goal is to cut me out of my child's life in a letter he released to Kiwi Farms, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. I guess Vickers deleted the abort the retort page because he realized that would look really bad if he was trying to play victim. And to Ralph's credit, he has an archive for that site, I guess. He should probably cut out specific allegations from it. Like, that's something you would actually want to explain. Like, he built up a page specifically to try and ruin my life. He's like a maniac. He's actively trying to with me. I host an internet talk show. Oh, I got excited. I thought I got a big I in there. No, Little I Internet Talk Show. It is a Little I Internet Talk Show, Ralph. Called The Kill Stream. Mr. Vickers took it upon himself to email confirming potential guests to that show. Several of them sent me his emails unclosed. A screenshot of that confirms one of these attempts with comedian Chrissy Mayer. Wow, what a dickhead. He did contact his guests to try and dissuade them from showing up on his show. That's a proper A-log. He's got himself a genuine Vordrak. When Faith went back home in November and we broke up, Matthew Vickers conspired with a member of Kiwi Farms, Elric of Melnabone on Kiwi Farms and Genius Anus on Twitter. Could you imagine being like a 70-year-old man and trying to figure out what the he's talking about? Like, I like how he has to explain that he runs a podcast. He says, I run the Kill Stream. It's an internet show. I talk to people on the internet about internet things. But then he gets down here and is like, Matthew Vickers conspired with the member of Kiwi Farms, as if Kiwi Farms is some organization that everyone just so happens to know. At no point, I've skimmed, by the way, at no point does Ralph try to explain what the Kiwi Farms is to this man. To leak my private messages with Faith over the course of a week or two. He bragged about this act online and on his site, aborttheretort.com. This Kiwi Farms user, Elric, in order to prove the authenticity of his post, leaked my phone number and my new address. What I really like about this screenshot he's provided from the Kiwi Farms is that he's decided to use the dark theme. Like, we have multiple themes. You could switch to light and then take a screenshot of that, and it wouldn't require a ton of black ink to print. But I guess it's not his ink, so who gives a right? It's just the state of California's, and they got money to burn, so why not? Oh, here's more. Here's more black on gray for for the court to print out for all their records. And this is just screenshots of posts. Here's one of Ralph's, and this is Twitter. You can easily switch that to light. The only way she could have gotten this from Matthew Vickers or his daughter, she denied to me. I believe Vickers did it. Vickers claims to have done nothing criminal in his complaint. Well, his actions are borderline. Well, that's not proof of anything. Is there like a charge against him? No. This is only a very small sampling of organized harassment. You know, I actually believe that there's enough back and forth between Vickers and Ralph where Ralph could say he's not acting in good faith. He has no reason to believe that. He's obviously not afraid of Ralph if he's antagonizing Ralph so much. I think if Ralph had the intelligence or a lawyer to lay out exactly what this harassment was in an organized, competent way, he would stand a really good chance of having this overturned, simply because of how much dirty hands Matthew Vickers has in this. But of course, he's Ralph, and he wrote a expose blog post about Matthew Vickers and submitted to the. I wouldn't even be surprised if that was the case. If he had written this up as like an expose blog post on the Ralph retort, and then at some point he just decided, you know what? I'll save myself the time and money. I wrote myself up a professional document here. I'll just change a few words to say Your Honor and the court, and I'll submit it, and that'll be perfect. And that's what we have. I'm hoping a very specific sentence is coming up. Matthew Vickers did an interview in front of thousands of people, the same one I mentioned earlier. He didn't name it. Is he like refusing to name this interview? Like who did these interviews? I don't know who this is. On September 8th, 2020, where he talked about how he struggled every day to not buy a plane ticket and shoot Ethan Ralph in the face. His wife, Ariana, who he names as needing protection with this order, also discussed how she fantasized about me right after he got done doing so. You know what? I'm gonna type this Vakaroo thing. Or is it an LASP6JHD5? No. Let's try an I, big I. No. If only imagine like seriously, imagine me in the court and thinking like I have to hear this. This sounds like it's a critical piece of the defense, and if only I had a way to type in this link. Oh, this is it. Oh, you know what? I'll put it on my Chrome so that actually plays.
No, he just said, hey, all he said after that was, I can't even imagine what's going on your end. So I don't know if it's that he doesn't allow himself to think about it. He doesn't have to care about it, or
no. Well, I mean, even in the original Rad Roberts emails, and then post Rad Roberts, where he revealed himself after I revealed him.
Who the f*** are they talking to?
He kept saying, "No, believe it or not, I do see things from your side." Like, no, you don't, because then you'd be coming out here, you'd be struggling. If you were seeing things from my perspective, Ethan Ralph, you would know what it's like to struggle every day to not buy a plane ticket and go shoot you in the face. Now, I'm not making a threat, so we're clear. But don't think it's not a
I will also clarify that was not a threat at all.
But don't think it's not a recurring fantasy running through the Vickers head multiple times a day.
Or the mother's head. I know that there's this idea that, moms are all sweet and tender and everything. I have just as much trouble not fantasizing about.
Mrs. Vickers also well trained in the firearm arts.
And look, this is pure fantasy. This is pure,
it's angry, hurt, scared parents.
But yeah, they are parents. They are emotionally wounded. They are broken souls. So my question is, if we're trying to get Faith back by Christmas, she's supposed to call you, but apparently he's controlling her phone and he's not, she's not allowed to communicate with other people. Is there any way you can actually get professional?
There's a good chance just in that clip that Godwinson actually saved them. Because he like recontextualizes it, and Ralph includes that, where Godwinson says this is just like what runs through a parent's mind when they've been taken advantage of by like a monster. That's perfect. That really saves their ass. Though I don't know. I really I think it's an L. It's like an L, not a capital I. But a court's going to be confused by what that is. I'm not going to be able to type it in. They did this on air in front of a massive audience. Had I done something similar, they likely would have called the police. Yes, I have sent some nasty messages their way. Yes, I have sent some nasty messages their way, period. But, new sentence, like, he went to, like, college for a degree in political science so he could be, like, a journalist, like a legitimate journalist. How the do you write like this? I learned how to write from internet forums, Ralph. But there's nothing on this scale for me. And even if you even if you disagree with that conclusion, I would hope that the court sees that this is anything but a one-sided affair. Matthew Vickers also shows a picture of my girlfriend, Amanda Morris, holding a shotgun, and said this made him worry about the possibility of me having a gun. His leaker also released her personal cell phone number. By the way, add that to the list. What list, Ralph? Maybe you should have made a list and itemize the things that he has done to dirty his hands so that he cannot claim that he is in fear for his life or whatever the I do not have a gun. For the record, that picture was taken at her father's house during one of her visits. I was not present. It's my belief that Mr. Vickers knows that, since you can tell from the siding on the house. That's not the one I live in. He's well aware of where I live and what the house looks like. But regardless, that's the facts behind his false innuendo. I have no weapons. Like, that's a really strong statement to make. Like, a huge part of his claim that he's in fear of his life is that you have access as a felon as a violent felon to a firearm because of your girlfriend owning a shotgun. The reply is, I do not have access to a firearm. That is Amanda Morris with her father at his house with his weapon. That's how you phrase that. You do not need this paragraph of jumbled up nonsense to make that point. And it's a really important point. Like, he's saying he's in fear of his life because of this weapon. Saying in no unclear terms that is not a weapon I have access to is really important, I feel. Not a lawyer. I'm just a... Vickers goes into the dispute we had where I took it to Twitter and tweeted out some of our messages. Yes, I saw Monday, Matt. Very, very exciting stuff. A verified checkmark. First off, as I have established, it's very normal for him to share personal messages between us in public on his aborttheretort.com website, which he has deleted to cover his tracks. You've already said this. Now, he did this often. He concluded with others to do it too. The fact that we would hang his hat. Oh, not literally. The fact he would hang his hat on this being some kind of abusive behavior when it's his go-to move is quite frankly ridiculous. This man has designed a harassment campaign against me unlike anything this court has ever seen. Ralph, that's not... Like, okay, in his mind, he thinks it's true. Like, I've suffered the grandest of slights. No court has ever seen anything as damaging to the personal reputation and well-being of a person as aborttheretort.com. I can tell you flat out that there are way worse, like, attacks on character out there, and the court has seen much, much worse. He is now beyond belief that he is now claiming to be the one suffering in that regard. I honestly have lost count of the amount of times Matthew Vickers has shared personal messages between us or messaged me when I told him not to. Then do it. Like, show one such case. Show one case of you, Ethan Ralph, saying, do not contact me again, and then being messaged. That's really important. He's lost count of the amount of times that this has happened, but he can't show a specific instance because that's too hard. That's a lot of work to do that. I can't just ask my Discord friends to get me some Vakaroos to throw in my legal document. That would actually me pull out my phone and have to find it. As I've shown, Matthew Vickers has at the very least colluded with someone who was releasing my phone number and the new address I had the public didn't know about. That's public information, even if it's not like the Kiwi Farms, dude. Matthew Vickers mentions that I brought up him bragging about keeping my son from me. That's because he did just that in 2 separate emails that he released to Kiwi Farms, that big, bad message board he is supposedly so afraid of. Did Vickers say he's afraid of the Kiwi Farms? If he did, he's because he's posting on it right now. He's obviously not afraid of it if he's claiming that he's afraid of the forum. These are both from July of this year, right before he claims they started harassing him. Again, he's completely left this part out of the story of the narrative. Actually, I think what Vickers said regarding this is that he's just like, Ralph is like a threat to everyone around him because everyone watches his every move. So everything you do in association with Ralph gets published alongside information about Ralph. So he's a really toxic person in a literal sense. He's toxic to know and be around. But Ralph is like being gay about that, I guess, even though it's objectively true. He also posted on Kiwi Farms himself as late as April 29th of the current year, and of course his posts were inflammatory towards me. But that's not all. It's like he's like he's trying to sell me a slap, like what's that thing that cuts up nuts really fast that they sell on TV? A slapjack? A slap cutter? It's made by that guy who got arrested for beating up a prostitute. But that's not all. He even solicits Slap chop, that's it. He even solicits more emails from me on the site. These are the same people he manipulated in an effort to get them to harass me. He did this for months on end. Your Honor. Your Honor. Like he's speaking to the judge and he's like transcribing his speech to a message. Keep in mind, I was talking to Faith and the baby every day before this, and the only reason we had to blow up in the first place was because I thought he had taken her internet, lowercase internet, access away and cut me out of the baby's life. How could I possibly come to that conclusion? Well, he's attempted to do just that and openly bragged about it, all while asking this court to put a gag order on me. How fair is that? Such sloppy shit. Know your audience. That's an important part of writing. I have many more texts that show Faith and I were in contact throughout the pregnancy and that there was no doubt about parentage. Indeed, I've never heard any doubt about that ever until Vickers' filing. Strange. This is filed by defendant Donald J. Trump from Twitter.com. He's submitting his filing as a string of tweets, and they're being compiled for this document. This is the best paragraph of the entire thing, by the way. I'll post a screen that shows her talking about how he wanted her to send a text after the blow up saying she didn't want to talk to me anymore. I have no doubt that he is behind this change in status. I was fully involved with my son throughout the pregnancy and every day up until this blow up in early July. That's not the best. I lied. I put on the voice for no reason. I have reams of evidence on this score. Sounding like the president who said he had binders full of women. He has reams full of evidence on this score that he's not going to show. Oh, here's one. Actually, here's the messages from Faith. She had me so concerned with her description of events that I was on the verge of calling the police. He was so involved with that pregnancy, by the way, that he made no effort to actually go see her. He was the best Skype dad ever. My dad is telling me I have to send you a message saying to leave me alone. I know you said if I did shit like that again, though, you'd lose it. But my mom is saying that she's going to come to the room and shit and take... That's a threat. Faith, you go in there and you tell that Ethan Ralph you don't want to hear from him again, or I'll walk in there and I'll dump ass on your rug. I'll squat and shit in the middle of your room and you'll have to clean it up. That would be a threat to take seriously. You're saying she's going to come to the room and shit and take Xander. What am I supposed to do? If I do one or the other, someone is going to hate me and want to get payback. If you do, I'm going to call the police to Disneyland on your parents. I recorded that screen with my iPhone. I 100,000% will call the police. Please, I just need to sleep. She's so manipulative. I really hate Faith. I almost feel bad for Vickers because she's obviously playing both sides because she likes seeing men fight over her. So she likes pitting daddy and baby daddy against each other and just sitting back and watching like the fireworks. So she feels important. But I can't feel bad for her because it's entirely his fault that she's such a mental case. If she hasn't been by him, I'm really surprised. I didn't know you could someone's brain up so badly without like them. It really is a mystery. Look at how she does this. How she like seamlessly flip flops between the two, playing like innocent, scared little girl to both Ralph and Vickers. So it's really just impressive, and neither of them have caught on to it. They're both gullible idiots that keep believing this shit. I've lost my place. Oh, there it is. She describes me possibly becoming angry if she sends the message or did shit like that again. What does that mean? Well, Mr. Vickers had her send me fake messages before. I took a screenshot of her describing this back in May because I knew that one day it might come in handy. I guess today is that day. I can confirm that text message I received from her was an exact copy of the one her father's Matthew Vickers told her to copy and send to me. Zoomer girl, it's so cringe. She's also done this once before with a letter she sent me claiming that Matthew forged it and made her send it. Screenshots of Snapchat, I guess. The next screenshot was how Faith and I talked about the baby. She sent this to me on May 4th. Right around the time Vickers was giving her fake messages to send me. Not everything was perfect by any means. We still argued from time to time, but we were both excited about Alexander. Xanda. There's a lot more I could write and show. How does he think that's acceptable? How does he think it's acceptable to file something to the court and say, I have evidence of everything I'm saying, but I'm going to show you like a couple screenshots of my phone. But unlike this is a great paragraph. But unlike Mr. Vickers, I don't have seemingly endless time and money with which to waste the court's resources. I like that part because he basically admits, yeah, I'm writing this shit because I'm broke, Yana. I bought a Louis Vuitton man purse. And, speaking of, he went to a Chris trial, which was just continued, so he wasted his time. But he went out there, and I thought for sure, I publicly speculated that Ethan Ralph, after buying that Louis Vuitton man purse, would be so ashamed of his stupidity, he would immediately pawn it for like half the price he paid just so he could recoup some of the money, but like not have that man purse anymore. But no, he showed up at the court wearing this Louis Vuitton man purse, which is like smaller than a child's lunchbox for school and dangles off his bulbous spherical person in the most comical way ever, because now he's too proud to get rid of the man purse. People have given him shit for it. So that purse will cling to his body until the day he dies, because he can't, he can't let the haters win by getting rid of it. I have no desire to contact him or his wife or any of his children except the one who gave birth to my child. It's my view that given his public statements and actions regarding my online activity and private life, that he has forfeited any protection from public response or my media platforms. Again, he has been attacking me in public himself for well over a year. How is it that I should suffer under what amounts to a gag order by this court when he has been free to say and do so many malicious things for so long? That being said, I have no actual desire to speak about him or his family. Like, he undercuts his own argument there. Like, he says, I deserve the constitutional protected right of freedom of speech in spite of this gag order, and Mr. Vickers saying he fears for his life because it's not fair. But I don't even want to do it, Your Honor. Like, that's not instilling the confidence in the court that this is an undue burden on you. When you say, like, I don't even give a really. I'm filing this because it's for fun. I'm practicing my writing skills. I run a blog, but I can't write for shit, so I'm trying to get some practice on. Not particularly persuasive. The Gurse, the Gunt purse. I just don't think it should be legally barred from doing so. I disagree with that, or I also don't believe it pose a physical threat to anyone here. I've shown you how he has repeatedly mused about me in public. He also has guns, as he has sent me a photo of one out of the blue. It was seemingly an attempt to intimidate me, although I'm quite certain he will deny that. If anyone is at risk, it's me. Getting a hotel and some barbecue catering for our normal election party, but since you never know how shit will go down, I packed my just in case, which is a bunch of guns, apparently. I mean, how is that how is that like a threat? That's that just says that he's like scared of like violence during the election. That's a really good reason to have weapons on you if you're afraid of something going violent. Oh, this is really funny. Matthew Vickers tweets out, me and Faith had to go pick up fish and chips for the demon baby. It hungers. And then he said, sent with Faith's permission, LOL. And then he says, oh, I've left this out so far, but his wife, Ariana, was also involved online and trying to attack me in my business interests. She also threatened me in this posting. Unfortunately, I cannot find the archive, but I have a direct quote in an archive of the account itself. I love my daughter. I want her safe. Her safety is the only thing that will save the gunt. He has been warned. I mean, the court's not going to look at that and think, oh my God, what a monster. If a mother says, if you touch my kid, I'll you, that's not like a threat. That's like, I mean, I guess it is a threat, but it's not like a legally actionable, unreasonable threat. If you touch my kid, I'll you is like a pretty normal thing in these circumstances. I think I've shown ample evidence in this response. Mr. Vickers obtained this order based on only half or less of the story. I got into an argument with someone about that sentence. I've shown in my ample evidence in this response that Matthew Vickers obtained this order based on only half or less of the story. That wording basically says that about half of like everything that Vickers said is basically true, but there's another half to it. You know what I mean? It's basically saying that it's true, but there's more to it, which is also not a good way of defeating like a judgment like this. You're saying, yeah, it's all true, but really you should know the context. The context is that Matthew Vickers is also a dickhead. Well, if what you're saying is that it's all true, but really he deserved it, then that's not really a good argument that the protective order is unnecessary. I hope that the court will take it into consideration and dismiss or heavily amend this temporary order. Mr. Vickers is right that once you post something online, it stays forever. And thank God for that. Or else I wouldn't have been able to show how much he has misrepresented his case. Thank you for your time. There's a paragraph in this that is missing. That's extremely funny. Is this like... Oh man, I'm not. If I have to just like paraphrase this, I'm gonna be so pissed. Maybe it's like his second. This is Faith describing her harassment. Described harassment. Oh, I'm seething. I'm seething if I can't find this. Okay, I guess I'll just paraphrase it. There is a part, and I thought it was in this filing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I skipped over it on accident. But at some point... Oh, it is this one. Oh, I did. I missed this page. As far as speaking to him or his family, other than his daughter Faith, I have absolutely no desire to... This is the best part. I'm getting up to it. I have absolutely no desire to do so, and I promise here not to. If there's a way that part can be upheld while amending this, blah, blah, blah. Vickers mentioned several times that I've done... Matthew Vickers mentions several times that I have done nothing to change the official father status for baby Alexander. That is true. But it's only because I'm not sure a nasty legal battle is in my child's best interest. He refers to this baby as his baby, that he is the father to, that Faith is the mother to, that is his child. He admits, clear as crystal, black and white, that not only is he not the father in the official legal sense, he has made no effort to amend the birth certificate to be named the father, and he has no intentions of doing so. That alone is like, barring anything else, that's like the strongest argument. You have no reason to contact these people. You are not the father. You are literally a stranger to all three of them. You live across the country. As far as the court of law is concerned, as far as the U.S. government and the state of California is concerned, you have not a single legitimate reason to be in contact with any of these people. His complaint that it would be a nasty legal battle, that's not what he's concerned about. Having that certificate amended within the first 2 years of the birth, and people look this up, is just filing a form and submitting a DNA test. And if it matches, then surprise, you're now the father. After 2 years, it's more of a process if the family wants to fight the claim. But in the first 2 years, it doesn't matter what Vickers want. It's not a court battle. You just say, I'm the father. Here's my DNA. The state takes it. They test it. If you're the father, you're the father legally. The issue is that then you're on the hook for 18 years. 18 years. 18 years. Got you for 18 years for a child that wasn't his. Well, in this case, it was. I guess it is his, but that's why. And this whole shit is about, it would be such a terrible legal fight. No, it wouldn't. The legal fight would be getting your ass for money. And Ralph doesn't want to, because he doesn't give about that kid. That could drop off a cliff and he wouldn't give a shit about it. It would save him a lot of trouble, I guess, because he's not going to fight to be the father ever. I was dealing with Faith personally before this and was mostly pleasant until Vickers. The truth is I haven't decided what I'm going to do. It's an easy situation, ... and it's made only more difficult by stuff like this. And then he brings up that Vickers called him the demon baby. And that's it. That's the whole Ralph thing. It's true. We don't know who the father is. It could be anyone. It could be Matthew Vickers. It could be a black man. I guess it could be a black man. It's not black. It could be like an insane person at the mental hospital. Could be one of the nurses there. Could be anyone who's not black in the District of Columbia. Could be anyone. We don't know. People have speculated that maybe Alexander is Dick's child, but I'm pretty sure that Dick has a vasectomy. I don't know that he's before anyone speculates. No, I was not told that confidence or anything. I just speculate that he has had a secret vasectomy. So I don't think it's Dick's. Maybe it's PPP's. No, that's not possible either. Someone in chat thinks that he intentionally wants the court to tell him not to contact any of these people, so he has an excuse to say when people shit talk him and say like he's a deadbeat dad. He's like, nothing I could do. I tried to be the best papa I could to that baby, but that Matthew Vickers done me over on every corner. I tried, but he was litigious. He lawyered up. He was harassing me and my clientele and with my business, and there was just nothing I could do. You know how them family courts is in California? You can't fight. That's a Sisyphean task. You rolling a boulder up a hill over and over again trying to beat them family courts against a woman. And then everyone in his chat's like, California bad, women bad, can't win family court. Here's a tip. Cha-ching, cha-ching. That's right, Ralph. Those family courts in California are really bad. And then cha-ching, cha-ching. I'm sorry that Matthew Vickers done did you like that, Ralph. Cha-ching, cha-ching. We love you, Ralph, anyways. I'm sorry that happened to baby Alexander. It's bullshit. Fuck those people. A boulder up a hill. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Matt did influence, like on a subconscious Freudian level. Maybe he did with my dictionary. Okay, that's it with Ralph, I think.